So Kevin is not going to join us today. He has a seminar he's going to. So Annie said today we should do the secret of Tai Chi, so that next week we can refer back to this, and Kevin won't know what we're talking about. I think that's a good plan. So that's what we're going to talk about.
Malcolm, you're recording. You're recording. You got to stop it.
Yeah, that. Oh, yeah. I have to make sure Kevin doesn't see this recording. Um, So what I want to do is pick up on something that I talked about earlier in the beginning class, and spend a few minutes talking about that, and then we can go on to some other movements. The movement we were working on was the transition in movement number 6. All right, so white crane, this movement here. So a very, very simple little movement, but there were people in the class who were not, who, I mean, in a way they were doing it because their outer movements sort of aped what was going on, but nothing was going on the inside. So we literally spent half the class talking about partly, what is going on inside? Why are you doing it that way? And where that can help lead you. And I thought it was kind of a valuable discussion, so I want to repeat it a little bit here. The major thing that we sort of came upon that hopefully would help them is the real secret of Tai Chi is on the inside, not the outside. And the secret to the inside is sequencing. So outer movement is your outer choreography, right? So you're doing this outer choreography. That's important because you have to have that choreography to have something to do. But just doing that outer choreography is not Tai Chi. Tai Chi is what happens on the inside. So what I was observing was this. Uday. It's not your arms that do it. It's your legs. And we talked a little bit about this. So Catherine was in that class, and I don't know if you guys know Catherine or not. She's the French lady. She's a bookbinder, right? So she does craftsmanship doing bookbinding. There's a sequence to doing bookbinding. There's a sequence to doing woodworking. There's a sequence to cooking, right? There's probably a sequence to brain surgery. And you have to know that sequence and be able to repeat that sequence, or things just don't work very well, right? Usually you'll end up ruining, there's a sequence to ceramics. If you do the wrong sequence, you're not going to get the pot that you think you want. So it's kind of the same thing. And the sequence in Tai Chi involves your feet, your legs, your hips, and your Dan Chin. Those determine your power, right? Then your waist determines the direction, and your hands only express what is being created down there. It's not your arms and hands doing it. It's your feet and legs doing it. Now that's a simplified version of the kind of the real overall sequence. The real overall sequence, we've talked about this, it starts in your mind, your shinyi, your intention. It goes to your Dan Chen, it goes to the bottom of your feet, it comes back to your Dan Chen, It goes up the core of the body and then out the arm. Right? It's a big loop. It goes down, it comes back out. It goes down, it comes back out. Right? So it's exactly like this. Right? It goes down, it comes back out. It goes down, it comes back out. It's always some variation on that. Some of the variations can get very technical and very sophisticated, but that basic idea underlies everything. So what you are training to do when you do the form is you are trying to incorporate that sequence in your body. Not as something you think about, but as something you feel. And that's just, boom, in the body. You don't have to think about it. You just do it in that sequence. And you don't skip steps. This is what most people do who don't do good Tai Chi. They skip a bunch of steps. And what they usually do is they go directly from their mind to their eyes to their fingers. All right? Sorry, I'm still doing it. Even I've been doing this so long, I cannot do it. I'm still going down and out. Right? Wow. But
Malcolm, I think one of the things that I've noticed, at least for me, is that the fact that a certain drill is like the hands or the elbows or the shoulders, even if it's just the name, it makes you subconsciously think that that's the move. You don't, like, it's not moving your weight from right to right. That's not how we call it the move. We call it like elbows. But I always try to think like, forget the elbows, like express it in the elbows, but it's not the elbows. And it's hard because we keep calling it like that, and you're like, okay, yeah.
that's exactly right, Ran.
And it's also true in the form. You're like, yeah, we're trying to do this like figure eight, but the figure eight isn't the story. Like the story is how, like, what you're doing with your body.
Well, that's what you're talking about is kind of the first level, which is just get the outer choreography, whether it's a particular exercise or whether it's something in the form. If it's an elbow exercise, just get the basic idea, get how you move your physical body. And after you get that, then you can start working on the insides, right? So I'm not really paying attention to my elbow, right? I'm paying attention to this current of energy that's flowing through my body, just like the current in a river. So when I'm doing this, what I'm really paying attention to is the bottom of my foot, out to my elbow, down to the bottom of the foot, right? It's the whole current. Right? It's and it's always basically the same thing, just in a million different variations. Sometimes it's your fingertips, right? Sometimes it's your elbow. Sometimes it's your shoulder. Sometimes it's your hip. Sometimes it's your knee, right? But it's always the same pattern going on. And that's just in one dimension here. There are three dimensions. So it gets really complicated. But the advantage to learning that is you are learning something about yourself and your body that most people just have never quite even imagined or is really real or really possible, right? So when you do the form, well, you can talk about body mechanics and body conformation and et cetera, et cetera. That's true. All of that is true. And that's a technical part of it that you do need to get as time goes on, but it takes a long time to pick all that stuff up. Like, what happens with this elbow here? makes a difference if you know that or don't know that. But the real secret of that's not the secret of Tai Chi. That's like the technical polish. The real secret of Tai Chi is just the flow of energy. And it's going down to that foot, and then it's coming back up and pop. It's that same pattern that I just talked about. And that's really the heart of Tai Chi is that flow of energy. And then when you do this in single exercises, right? Down to the bottom of the foot, up to the shoulders, down to the bottom of the foot, up to the shoulders. Okay, those are great for quote unquote learning the basic pattern. Not so much learning it up here, but learning it in the body. And then when you get into Tai Chi, which comparatively is so complicated, but in another way, it's actually very simple because every combination of yin and yang is just another repetition of that basic pattern. It's a variation on that pattern, and that makes it complicated. But it's still the same pattern, which makes it easy. Right? Down to the bottom of my feet, and now up and out. Down to the bottom of my feet, and up and out. Down to the bottom of my feet, up and down to the bottom of my feet, and up and down to the bottom of my feet. So what you're really looking to practice, once you get enough of the technical stuff that you've got something to practice, what you're really practicing is paying attention to that flow. The flow is what's important, and the ideal of this, we're working. Well, you guys are working on an 83 movement form, but it's true for any form. From the beginning of the form to the end of the form is one unbroken flow of energy. There are no breaks in the energy. Well, that's the ideal. It takes a lot of years to get there. But that's the ideal. So when you are practicing, yes, you got to pay attention to the technical part of things. You have to become a good technician to become a good craftsperson. But the point is not the craftsperson. The point is a level of artistry above that. And that comes from feeling the flow. And anybody can do that. It doesn't matter whether you're young or old or male or female or you're an Olympian or whether you have certain physical disabilities. You can still feel that flow. And and that's flow is what you want to grab onto. It's like a river going through the body. Right? What happens in the first couple of years is the technical part of Tai Chi is so complicated that people get lost in the technical part. And I absolutely understand that. I was exactly the same way. Everybody's the same way. All the great masters were the same way. It's too much. That's why we do so much Qigong in Tai Chi training, because Qigong is so much simpler. It simplifies the technical part of this, and that allows you to pay some attention to the flow. So if you do a very simple Qigong exercise like this, it's simple, it's repetitive. I'm not flying out at all this complex, crazy martial arts stuff. It's just very simple, and you can pay attention because it just repeats itself over and over and over. It's repetitive. Because it's repetitive, if you're paying attention, you can begin to feel the flow. It's very simple. Of course, you can feel the flow, right? And you can feel the Dan Shen turning inside. Right? You can feel the energy coming up to the shoulders and down to the hands. You can feel that flow through the body. That's what's important. So just when you guys are practicing, and I got to tell you, that's where the joy of this comes in. If you've ever had what do they call those little rafts that you blow up and you go down a river? I don't mean the big rafts that a dozen people go on, but just a personal raft, right? And you lay in this river and just let the current carry you down the river. My God, it's like heaven. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling, and it is so good for your mind and your soul and your body. But if you get all tied up in the complexity, sometimes you can lose sight of that very joyful kind of flow, that joyful kind of movement, right? So we're practicing the 83. That's like practicing the Rachmaninoff Third Piano Concerto. It is massive. It's 40 minutes long. There are 83 movements, but you know they're not 83 movements. There's probably something in the order of 900 or 1,000 movements in that form. My God, that's a lot. That's a lot for anyone to take on. Much less folks that have just been doing this a couple of years, right? So it's so easy to get lost in the complexities and the technical complexities of the movements. Just don't lose sight of the good stuff. So do the 24 form once in a while just for the joy of it, because you hopefully know that one pretty well. All right? And you can just flow in that one and really enjoy yourself. Anyway, that's what we were talking about in the earlier class. I think the discussion helped them. You have to keep your eyes on the prize. The prize of Tai Chi is not the technical part. The prize of Tai Chi is the artistic part and the soul part, and that comes from the sense of flow. Right? And you can see, hopefully you can see. You see how the ends of my fingers are starting to swell up and turn red? That's because when you really do it, you don't have your mind on teaching or on learning, which are teaching and learning are different tasks. They aren't Tai Chi. They may take you Tai Chi, right? But when you are doing Tai Chi, let's say you're doing a movement like this. That's a push. You're pushing someone. When you're pushing someone, that's yang energy. It's coming from the center of the body and the ground together, right? And you're pushing out with that energy. So boom, energy is going out. There also has to be energy coming in. There has to be a balance of energies. So on my TAIJI 2 on my back, the red fish is the yang fish, but there's a black eye in the red fish. The black eye, the red fish is yang, but the black eye is yin. That means even when I'm pushing out, if I'm pushing out really strongly, right, there has to be an energy coming back in. Where is it coming in? It's coming in the lao gong and the tips of my fingers. My hands are not 6 pounds of liver. They're sensory organs, just like my eyes, just like my ears. They are sensing the world. And even when I use them strongly in this direction, I have to pick up information from the person that I just pushed. And all this happens like this, boom, 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 boom. I mean, it's very fast, right? If I push this guy and he stumbles away or he begins to fall down, is he actually falling down? Or is he just preparing to come around and clobber me? I need to know that. So when I push him, I'm still absorbing information from his body. As long as I'm in touch with him, even though the touch might just be a second or a split second, you still need to gain that information. And that's why your hands swell up and become red, because you've opened them. You've opened them to receiving this information. It's like opening the pores or something. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That's a kind of relaxation. So in the middle of this really intense push, there has to be relaxation. Right? Wow, that big snap. Wow, how is that relaxation? Well, it is. It's relaxed, 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 snap, and then relax, relax, relax. It's relaxed until the moment of the snap. What is the moment of the snap? The moment of the snap is this wave of energy coming up, and then it snaps at the very end. It's exactly like this. It's very relaxed until snap at the very end, and then boom, it's immediately relaxed again. As long as it's relaxed, it can absorb things. Relaxation makes space. Relaxation makes some space inside you so something can come in. If you're not relaxed, then you can't listen, you can't hear. So you just relax. But that doesn't mean it's not wimpy relaxation. It's a very present, it's a kind of presence. It's a kind of being in the moment. Right? You're relaxed, boom, snap, and you're immediately relaxed again. Susan, you look like you want to ask something.
Yeah, well, I wanted to just say, it reminds me of something I heard that Mozart once said, that he said, the music is not in the notes, it's in the space between the notes.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Where does somebody like Mozart come from?
Oh boy.
He's, and there are geniuses in every field, including movement. But the truth is with a little application, anyone can learn music. It's true, you may not get to Mozart's level, but that doesn't mean it's not worth doing or it's not satisfying or even wonderful. Anyone can learn to play the piano, can learn to play the guitar, can learn to sing. And it's the same with motion. It does not matter how old you are. It does not matter what your sex is. It does not matter. Nothing matters. The only thing that matters is that you pay a little attention to it. And every human body has these capabilities inside of it. It's just a matter of becoming a little more familiar with them and then practicing them. So your practice when you do the form, I know you guys are busy working on the technical part of this, and that's fine. You have to do that. Just don't lose sight of the joyous part, of the fun part, of doing it once in a while just for the flow. Even if it's not technically perfect, just for the flow. Right? When you do this move, I love the flow of that move. Right? Watch this leg. Right? That flow. You know, oh well, he's just moving his leg back. But that's not what it feels like to me. What it feels like is a flow of energy going around. Right? So when you do the move, enjoy the good parts. Is maybe the message of it, right? Okay, let's talk a little bit about. We've got about 15 minutes left here. Let's talk about the next move in the sequence that we started yesterday. Which is tornado kick. All right, so let's practice what we did yesterday. Elbow to heart, backhand, temple, set, and right, TAIJI Fan Wa, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Reach out and grab, pull back, circle the hips and push, and backhand, block down, and punch. One more. Hands right over each other. One more. Okay, Susan, let me see you do that section. Good. Make sure that you go, I'm sorry, finish up. Finish up, Susan. Good. Make sure when you pull back, you go under the hips and then over. All right, so you're going around the hips, or you could say around the Dan Shan. All right, down, boom. Okay, Ran. Good. And the punch. Watch these punches. 1, 2. Right up by the ear. 3. 1, 2, 3. The third punch is higher. It's not from your waist, it's from your ear. Right? Okay, the next move is tornado kick. Tornado kick is, I think I showed you guys a video of some Shaolin guys doing real tornado kicks, right? It's high level gymnastics. But we're going to do a lower level version of it. And what I want to talk about in the next 10 minutes or so is just mainly the pattern on the floor that you use to do this. Okay. So you all can see the pattern on the floor here. The major axis of the form is in this direction, and the minor axis of the form is at 90 degrees to that. Those are the 4 points that you use. So north, south, east, and west. Right? So when you do a tornado kick, what you do is you wind up in one direction, and when you kick, you're going to slap your own foot, and you slap your foot on this dimension here. So you start here, you slap your foot here, and then the other hand comes around to this side here, and that's what pulls you around. Right? Turn, right? And then you extend the hands. So now I'm north and south, right? And then they come around and you end up in this direction here. All right? So everyone pays attention to the hand that slaps the foot. And then they forget the other hand. But it's the other hand that actually makes this thing possible. Because watch. All right? When you throw this hand around, that's what carries your body around in the circle. All right? Is this hand coming around? And notice something. I'm making myself dizzy doing this. Watch this hand, because I'm going to go around and then I'm going to pull it back in. Watch. All right? You spin around and you pull it back in. Pulling it back in is what keeps you from keep on spinning. You don't want to just keep on spinning. You want to stop at a certain place. So this pulls you around, and then you stop it by pulling it back into the center. Yeah, Susan, you went about 90 degrees too much. And it's exactly about pulling this in. So watch this hand here, right? It's going to pull me around, and then it's going to stop, so I'm in the right orientation. I don't spin too far, right? So you have to know where, right? This pulls you around. You have to know where to whip it back in, because that stops your, right? Let me see you do it. Better, better. Keep trying. Yeah, it's the basic idea. So you just keep practicing until you get really comfortable with it. Rand, let me see you do it. That's the basic idea. All right, whip, pull back. All right, so I'm not even focusing on the left hand, which is the hand that slaps the foot. When you do the foot slap, it happens because your hand just goes out and slaps your foot at a certain place. You have to be a little careful when you do that, that you don't kick your own hand too much. Don't think of kicking your hand. Think of handing your foot. Right? So as you spin, and then it comes back. Right? Spin, come back. Let me see you do it, Ryan. Okay, let me see you slap your foot. Okay.
Did you mean the foot itself? The okay, yeah.
Well, yeah, you can slap your leg, but make some noise. Yeah, that's okay. Just keep working on it. That was not bad. Um, it should be your sequence should be just the slap should be a split second before you did it, but that's okay. You did okay. And Susan, good. Okay, guys, just keep working on that. The secret to doing tornado kick is just to do it 1,000 times until you actually can get it. And enjoy your practice in the meantime. All right. Have a good day, guys. We'll see you next time.